They say the safest place to hide from a mafia boss is nowhere. I thought leaving him at the altar in Chicago would be my freedom, but I forgot one thing about the Santoro family. They don't just find what they lose. They reclaim it. I heard his shoes on the hardwood floor before I saw his face. Before we find out what he did next. If you love dark mafia romance and stories that keep you on the edge of your seat, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. My tiny Brooklyn apartment smelled like old radiator steam and the Thai food I'd eaten 3 days ago. The lock on my door was supposed to be pick-proof. Supposed to be. But Rocco Santoro didn't knock, didn't announce himself. He just walked in like he owned the place. Probably because in his mind he owned everything. I froze at the kitchen sink, my hands still wet from washing dishes. He stood in the doorway between my living room and kitchen, perfectly still. His suit probably cost more than 6 months of my rent. Custom-made shoes. Hair pushed back like he'd been running his hands through it. But it was his eyes that got me. Not angry. Not cold. Just focused. Like I was a problem he'd finally solved after working on it for way too long. You forgot something, Vienne, he said. His voice hit different in a small space. Or more dangerous maybe. I grabbed the counter behind me. I didn't forget anything. I left it all there on purpose. Did you? He reached into his coat pocket. My heart jumped straight into my throat. But he didn't pull out a weapon. He pulled out a dried flower. White lily. From my bouquet. You dropped this on the church steps, he said, looking at the dead petals instead of me. 6 months I've been carrying it. You know how hard it is to keep a dead flower from falling apart while crossing the Atlantic. He sighed, heavy and tired. Then he looked up. Those blue eyes. Ice cold and burning at the same time. Why? He asked. I gave you everything. The silk, the diamonds, the protection. I gave you my name. I shook my head. Hair fell across my face. That's the problem. I didn't want your name. I wanted the man. But the man was always busy signing orders I wasn't supposed to know about. He flinched. Tiny movement. Just his jaw tightening. But I caught it. I was protecting you. He hesitated, hand halfway reaching for me before dropping back to his side. From what? The life you chose. The words came out sharper than I meant. I didn't want a cage, Rocco. Not even a golden one. His eyes traveled around my apartment. The stack of art supplies. The half-finished canvas in the corner. The mismatched furniture I'd bought from 3 different thrift stores. So you chose this. He sounded personally offended. A drafty room where the heater barely works. You're an artist, Vienne. You belong in a studio overlooking Lake Michigan, not here. At least here the air is mine. We stood there. Traffic hummed outside. Someone's TV played too loud through the walls. Normal sounds. Normal life. Everything I'd run toward. I'm not dragging you back to Chicago, he finally said. He leaned against my counter, completely out of place next to my chipped coffee mugs. But I'm not leaving New York without you either. I bought the penthouse on 5th Avenue this morning. Pack your things. I stared at him. You what? He shrugged. Casual. Like buying penthouses was normal. The Santoro family doesn't take no for an answer. But the man. He paused. The man is willing to negotiate. He reached out. Tucked a piece of hair behind my ear. His fingers were warm. New deal, he said. No cages. No secrets. Just us. In this city. You keep your studio, keep your independence. But you come to dinner with me tonight. His mouth almost smiled. Starting with the pizza place on the corner. Heard it's the best in the borough. I wanted to say no. My stomach growled instead. Rocco laughed. The kind I hadn't heard since our early days when he'd take me to that Italian place in Little Italy and we'd talk until they kicked us out. See? Even your body knows we're not done yet. He walked to the door. Hand on the knob. 7 o'clock. Or something comfortable. We're walking. He left. The silence felt heavier than his presence. I looked at the dried lily on the counter. He hadn't come to hurt me or drag me back. He'd come to Aricourt me. And in the world of the Mafia, that was the strangest twist possible. But still. The Santoro name carried weight. Danger followed him everywhere. Even if he was being a gentleman now, his enemies wouldn't care about our negotiations. I spent 3 hours staring at my closet. What do you wear to dinner with the man you left at the altar? I picked a simple sundress and sneakers. If I had to run again, I wasn't doing it in heels. 7 o'clock. I heard a knock at the door. I opened it. Rocco stood there holding a sketchbook. Leather-bound with my initials in gold. This. For your new ideas, he said. Vienne Santoro, I whispered, touching the letters. Just Vienne for now, he corrected quietly. We walked down 4 flights of stairs. No bodyguards. Just 2 people walking into the humid New York evening. The pizza place had plastic tables and a neon sign that buzzed. Rocco sat across from me eating thin-crust pizza like it was normal. Like he didn't usually eat off fine china in restaurants where they don't list prices on the menu. Tell me about your paintings, he said, wiping sauce from his lip. And we talked colors and brushstrokes and why I liked painting people's hands more than their faces. It felt nice. Probably too nice. Walking back, a black car slowed beside us. Rocco changed instantly. The man vanished. The boss returned. He stepped in front of me, body becoming a shield. Stay behind me. The window rolled down. A face I didn't recognize. Sharp features. Cold smile. Rocco? In Brooklyn. The man laughed, but it sounded wrong. Heard you were looking for lost treasure. Didn't think you'd find it in the trash. Rocco's hands clenched at his sides. He didn't move. Move on, Silvio. This doesn't concern you. Silvio looked at me. Too long. Oh, I think it does. Anything that makes the great Rocco Santoro leave his throne is very interesting to the rest of us. The car sped off. Exhaust cloud hanging in the air. Rocco didn't turn around for a long time. When he did, his face looked carved from stone. The penthouse is safer, he said calmly. For you. I shook my head. No. That's how it starts. Protection turns into prison. I'm staying in my apartment. He sighed and looked at the dark street. These people don't play by rules, Vienne. He hesitated. Looked like he wanted to say more but didn't. He walked me to my door. Waited until I was inside and the deadbolt clicked. I watched from the window. He stood on the sidewalk for a long time looking at shadows like he was guarding me. And as much as I wanted to hate it, warmth spread through my chest. Next morning. Another knock. Delivery this time. Massive crate. I opened it. Professional-grade easel. Enough oil paints to last a decade and a note tucked inside. If you won't come to the studio comes to you. See you at lunch. Rocco. I smiled. Couldn't help it. But Silvio's face haunted me. Betrayal in the Mafia wasn't a matter of if. Just when. My escape from Chicago hadn't been running from a wedding. It had been running from a war. A war that just followed me to Brooklyn. Lunch turned into a pattern. Every day at noon, Rocco showed up at my door with food. Always something simple. Bagels from the corner deli. Sandwiches from the bodega. Once he brought hot dogs from a street cart and we ate them sitting on my fire escape while pigeons fought over crumbs below. You're going to get recognized, I told him on day 4. He was wearing jeans. Jeans. I didn't even know he owned jeans. Let them look. He took a bite of his pastrami sandwich. I'm just a guy having lunch with a girl. You're not just a guy. To you maybe I could be. He looked at me sideways. That's the whole point of this, Vienne. Proving I can be normal. Normal guys don't have enemies who follow them in black cars. He went quiet. Chewed slowly. Silvio won't be a problem. How do you know? Because I made sure of it. His voice dropped. Got that edge again. Had a conversation with him yesterday. Very productive conversation. I put my sandwich down. What kind of conversation? The kind where I reminded him that touching what's mine has consequences. He caught himself. What's mine? Listen to me. Old habits. Rocco. I didn't hurt him if that's what you're worried about. He wiped his hands on a napkin. Just made it clear that you're off limits. To everyone. No matter what happened in Chicago. People are going to ask questions. About why you're here. Why you're not back home running things. My cousin Marco is handling Chicago. He leaned back against the railing. Turns out the family doesn't fall apart when I take a vacation. Who knew? This isn't a vacation. No. He looked at me. It's not. My phone buzzed. Text from my friend Jenna. The one who got me this apartment helped me disappear. Girl. There's a man in $1,000 suit eating hot dogs on your fire escape. Explain. I glanced at the window. Jenna lived in the building across the street. She was probably watching us through binoculars right now. I have to tell my friends something, I said. They're going to think you're stalking me. Tell them the truth. That I left my Mafia boss fiancé at the altar and now he's trying to win me back with sandwiches? Sounds accurate. He smiled. Almost playful. Though I'd add that the sandwiches are working. They're not working. You're still here. Still having lunch with me every day. He stood up, brushed crumbs off his jeans. That's progress. Before I could argue, he kissed my forehead. Then climbed back through my window like this was totally normal behavior. Tomorrow, he called back. Wear walking shoes. I'm taking you somewhere. Where? Surprise. He grinned. Trust me. Then he was gone. I sat on the fire escape for another 20 minutes. My phone kept buzzing. Jenna demanding answers. But I just stared at the street below, watching Rocco's car pull away. He didn't come with a driver. He was trying. Really trying. Next day he showed up at 10 a.m. wearing a Yankees cap and sunglasses. Disguise, he explained when I laughed. Your friend across the street keeps taking pictures. This is me being subtle. You're about as subtle as a parade. Just put on your shoes. We took the subway. The subway. Rocco Santoro, who probably owned half the cars in Chicago, stood holding a pole on the N train like it was nothing. People pushed past us. Where are we going? I asked for the third time. You'll see. We got off at Coney Island. The boardwalk stretched out in front of us, all bright colors and screaming kids and the smell of salt water mixed with fried food. Rocco took off his sunglasses, squinting in the sun. When's the last time you were at an amusement park? He asked. I don't know. Maybe 12. Good. Me neither. He grabbed my hand. Let's be 12 again. We rode the cyclone 3 times. Rocco screamed on the drops. I laughed so hard my stomach hurt. We played those rigged carnival games where you throw rings at bottles. He won me a giant stuffed elephant that was absolutely ridiculous to carry. You know these games are designed so you can't win, I told him. Everything's designed so you can't win. He handed the elephant to a little kid walking by instead. The kid's eyes went huge. You just have to be stubborn enough to do it anyway. We got cotton candy. Walked along the beach. Sat on the sand even though it got everywhere. This is nice, I said quietly. Yeah. He wasn't looking at the ocean. He was looking at me. It is. In Chicago we never did stuff like this. I know. He picked up a shell, turned it over in his fingers. I was too busy trying to impress you with expensive things. Forgot that the best things are usually free. Not totally free. You paid for the subway. $2.75 each way. He smiled. Biggest bargain of my life. We watched the sky turn orange and pink and purple. Rocco took off his jacket and put it around my shoulders when the wind picked up. I'm sorry, he said suddenly. For what? For not being this guy before. The guy who takes you to Coney Island and rides roller coasters. He hesitated. I thought I had to be someone else. Someone bigger. Scarier. But all you wanted was this. I wanted you. I pulled his jacket tighter. Not the boss. Not the name. Just Rocco. Can I tell you something? He looked nervous. That day in Chicago. When you ran. I wasn't angry. I was relieved. I turned to stare at him. What? I knew you weren't happy. Saw it in your eyes every time someone called you Mrs. Santoro before we were even married. Every time my father talked about business at dinner. Every time a bodyguard followed us somewhere. He picked up another shell. Part of me hoped you'd run. Because it meant you were brave enough to choose yourself. Even if it killed me to watch you go. Then why come after me? Because relief doesn't mean I stopped loving you. He looked at me finally. It just meant I needed to figure out how to love you better. I didn't know what to say to that. We took the subway back in comfortable silence. His hand found mine in the crowd. This time I didn't pull away. He walked me to my door. Didn't try to come inside. Same time tomorrow? He asked. Where are we going? Another surprise. He kissed my hand. Good night, Vienne. Good night. I closed the door. Leaned against it. Heard him wait on the other side for a minute before his footsteps faded down the stairs. My phone buzzed. Jenna again. Okay, that was actually kind of cute. But I still need the full story. Coffee tomorrow morning. No excuses. I smiled. Texted back a thumbs up. Then I looked at my canvas in the corner. The painting I'd been avoiding for weeks. And suddenly I knew exactly what I wanted to create. Not the dark, angry piece I'd been planning. Something lighter. I painted until 3 a.m. Colors bleeding together. Blue for the ocean. Pink for the sunset. Gold for the way Rocco looked when he smiled. Next morning, Jenna showed up with coffee. Spill, she demanded, dropping onto my couch. Everything. Starting with hot dog fire escape guy. So I told her. Not about Chicago or the family business or the wedding. Just that Rocco was my ex. That we were trying again. That it was complicated. Complicated how? She pressed. His family doesn't approve of me. Not a lie. Just not the whole truth. Well, his family can shove it. Jenna sipped her coffee. He looks at you like you hung the moon. That's rare, Vienne. Don't run from rare. What if rare isn't enough? What if it is? She stood up, grabbed her purse. Stop overthinking. Just feel for once. After she left, I stared at my painting. Still wet and imperfect. But honest. Rocco showed up at noon with Chinese takeout. New place today, he announced. MoMA. You're going to show me art and explain why people pay millions for paintings I could accidentally make with a mop. I laughed. That's not how art works. Educate me then. We spent 4 hours in the museum. I explained color theory and composition and why some pieces made you feel things you couldn't name. Rocco listened. Asked questions. Stood in front of a Monet for 15 minutes just staring. It's like looking at water without looking at water, he said quietly. Exactly. He bought me a postcard from the gift shop. The Monet we'd stood in front of. For inspiration, he said. Walking back, we passed a jewelry store. Rocco stopped. Looked in the window. What? I asked. Nothing. But his jaw was tight. Just remembering. The engagement ring. The one I'd left on the altar in Chicago. 3 carats. Family heirloom. Worth more than most people make in a lifetime. I don't need a ring, I said softly. I know. He pulled me away from the window. That's why I'm not buying you one. When the time comes, if it comes, you're picking it out. Something you want. Not what my family thinks you should have. And if I want a $20 ring from a street vendor? Then that's what you'll get. He smiled. Though I'm definitely buying you the matching necklace because I'm not that changed. We laughed and kept walking. His hand in mine felt less like a trap and more like a choice. But 3 blocks from my apartment I saw it. Black car. Tinted windows. Idling on the corner. Rocco saw it too. His whole body tensed. Keep walking, he muttered. Normal pace. Is that Silvio's car? Yeah. The window rolled down. Silvio leaned out. Same cold smile. Rocco. We need to talk. No, we don't. It's about Chicago. Silvio's eyes flicked to me. And about the people asking questions about your little vacation. Rocco stopped. Stepped between me and the car again. Say what you need to say. Not here. Silvio's smile widened. Tonight. The warehouse on Kent Avenue. 10 p.m. Come alone. Not happening. Then maybe I'll have to come to you. Silvio looked directly at me. Nice building. 4th floor, right? Apartment 4C. Your girlfriend's got a lovely fire escape. My blood went cold. Rocco took a step forward. Voice dropped to something dark and dangerous. You threaten her again and negotiations are over. Understand? Just business, Rocco. The window started rolling up. 10 p.m. Don't be late. The car drove off. Rocco stood frozen for a second. Then he pulled out his phone, dialed. Marco. We have a problem. Rocco made 3 more calls before we even got back to my apartment. His voice turned colder with each one. The man from Coney Island disappeared and the boss came back like flipping a switch. Lock the door behind me, he said when we got inside. Don't open it for anyone. You're scaring me. Good. You should be scared. He paced my tiny living room. Like a tiger in a hamster cage. Silvio doesn't make empty threats. If he knows your apartment number, he's been watching. Then let's call the police. He looked at me like I'd suggested we sprout wings and fly. The police can't help with this, Vienne. This is family business. I'm not family anymore. Remember? I ran. You're always family. He stopped pacing. Came close. Hands on my shoulders. That's the problem. You can marry in, but you can't marry out. My name is still attached to you whether you wear the ring or not. So what do? We don't do anything. I go to this meeting. Find out what Silvio wants. Handle it. Alone? In a warehouse at night? That's how people end up on the news, Rocco. I've been doing this my whole life. Then why does your hand keep going to your pocket like you're checking for a gun? He froze. Looked down at his hand. Jaw clenched. Stay here, he said. I'll have someone watch the building. A bodyguard. Protection. Same thing. I pulled away. This is exactly what I ran from. The guards. The threats. The constant looking over your shoulder. I know. He sounded tired. But right now, keeping you safe is more important than keeping you happy. What if I don't want either? What if I just want normal? Then you picked the wrong man to have lunch with. He grabbed his jacket. I'm sorry, Vienne. I really am. But normal isn't an option anymore. Not after Silvio didn't listen to my warning. He left before I could argue. I locked the door. Then I sat on my couch and stared at my phone. 10 minutes later someone knocked. I jumped. Heart racing. Delivery, a voice called. I didn't order anything. From Mr. Santoro. Ma'am, I'm just the delivery guy. I looked through the peephole. Young kid. Maybe 20. Holding a large box. He looked bored, not threatening. I opened the door a crack. Chain still on. Just leave it outside. Need a signature. Leave it. Please. He shrugged. Set the box down and left. I waited 5 minutes before opening the door fully. Pulled the box inside fast. Locked everything again. Inside was a phone. With a note. Asterisk, this one is secure. My number is programmed. Call if you need anything. Guard is stationed across the street in the blue sedan. His name is Tony. Skid. Asterisk. I looked out the window. Blue sedan. Guy in the driver's seat reading a newspaper. My prison was forming. One concerned gesture at a time. I called Rocco on the new phone. Hey, he answered immediately. You okay? I got the phone. And the babysitter. Tony's the best. Ex-Marine. Good guy. I don't want a good guy watching my building, Rocco. I want a normal life. Silence on the other end. After tonight, he finally said. After I meet with Silvio and figure out what he wants. We'll talk about options. What kind of options? The kind where maybe you're right. Maybe New York isn't far enough. Maybe we need to go somewhere else entirely. My stomach dropped. You'd leave Chicago? Leave the family. For you? I'm starting to think I'd leave everything. He paused. Let me handle tonight first. Then we'll figure it out together. Be careful. Always am. He paused. Vienne. Yeah. If something goes wrong. Don't say that. If something goes wrong, he continued anyway. Tony has instructions. He'll get you somewhere safe. Somewhere even Silvio can't find. There's money in the box. Under the phone. Enough to start over. I dumped the box. Stacks of cash fell out. Maybe tens of thousands. Rocco. Just in case. His voice was steady. I love you. I should have said it more in Chicago. I'm saying it now. Don't go to this meeting. Have to. It's the only way to end this. Then let me come with you. Absolutely not. Why? Because I'm weak? Because I need protecting? Because if they want to hurt me, the fastest way is through you. He said it bluntly. And I won't give them that option. Stay home. Stay safe. I'll call you when it's done. He hung up. I stood in my apartment surrounded by cash and guards outside. Everything I'd run from. I looked at my painting. The happy one. The Coney Island sunset. Felt like a lie now. 8 p.m. 2 hours until Rocco's meeting. Jenna texted. Asterisk, wine night? I'm bringing the good stuff. Asterisk. I texted back. Rain check. Not feeling great. You okay? Yeah. Just tired. Feel better, babe. I turned off my regular phone. Sat in the growing darkness. Didn't turn on lights. 9 p.m. 1 hour. Someone knocked again. Harder. Vienne. Man's voice. It's Tony. Mr. Santoro asked me to check on you. I looked through the peephole. Big guy. Military haircut. Looked exactly like what a bodyguard should look like. I'm fine, I called through the door. I need to do a visual confirmation. Just a quick look. Make sure you're okay. I said I'm fine. Ma'am, I have orders. And I have locks. He sighed. Loud enough for me to hear. 5 seconds. Open the door for 5 seconds so I can tell Mr. Santoro you're alive and unharmed. Then I'll go back to my car. I opened it. Chain still on. Tony nodded. Thank you. Keep this phone on you. Kitchen knife under your pillow. Don't answer the door for anyone else. Kitchen knife. Just in case. He tapped his ear. I've got surveillance. See the whole hallway. But better safe than sorry. He left. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen. Felt ridiculous. Put it on the coffee table instead of under my pillow. 9:30. 30 minutes. The new phone rang. It was an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Then thought maybe it was Rocco from a different phone. Hello. Vienne. Silvio. We need to talk. My blood went cold. How did you get this number? I get every number eventually. He sounded amused. Listen carefully. Rocco is walking into a trap tonight. You understand? A trap. Then call him. Warn him. Why would I do that? I'm the one who said it. He laughed. But here's the thing. I don't actually want to hurt Rocco. I want what he has. And what he has is you. I'm not something to be traded. Everything is something to be traded. That's how this world works. His voice got serious. Here's the deal. You come to the warehouse instead. Before 10. I'll let Rocco leave unharmed. He goes back to Chicago. You come with me. Everyone stays alive. Come with you where? Does it matter? You'll be alive. He'll be alive. Isn't that what you want? You're insane if you think I'd. I think you love him enough to save him. Silvio cut me off. And now I'm giving you the chance to save him from all of this. And if I don't come? Then Rocco walks into that warehouse at 10 p.m. and he doesn't walk out. I've got 12 guys waiting with guns. The whole setup. He's good, but he's not that good. My hands shook. He'll have backup. Will he? I've been monitoring his calls. He told Marco not to bother about leaving Chicago. Told Tony to watch you. He's coming alone because he thinks this is a negotiation. It's not. Silvio paused. You've got 25 minutes to decide. Warehouse on Kent Avenue. You know where it is. Come alone. Save your man. Or stay home and let him die trying to protect you. Your choice. He hung up. I stood frozen. This was a trap. Silvio was lying. Had to be lying. But what if he wasn't? I called Rocco. He went straight to voicemail. Called again. Same thing. Texted. Call me. Urgent. Nothing. I looked out the window. Tony was still in his car. Doing his job. If I tried to leave, he'd stop me. That was his whole purpose. Keep me safe. But if Rocco walked into a trap, I grabbed my jacket. Put the phone in my pocket. Took the knife just in case. Then I did something stupid. I opened my window. Climbed onto the fire escape. Started going down. 4 floors with metal staircase, but I tried to be quiet. Got to the 2nd floor when I heard it. Ma'am. Tony's voice. Below me. He'd seen. Need you to go back inside. I can't. Mr. Santoro gave explicit orders. Rocco is walking into a trap. I kept climbing down. Silvio called me. Told me everything. If I don't go to that warehouse right now, they're going to kill him. Tony moved fast. Blocked the bottom of the fire escape. Then I'll call for backup. Go inside. Let us handle it. There's no time. I reached the bottom. Faced him. Please. Move. Can't do that. Then come with me. But I'm going either way. We stared at each other. If you go, you'll both die, he said finally. If I don't go, he dies alone. I pushed past him. I'm done watching from the sidelines. I ran. I heard Tony swear behind me. Then followed me. At least let me drive, he shouted. I stopped. Turned. He had keys in his hand. Looked furious. Fine. But we go now. We got in the sedan. Tony drove like he was running from the law. This is the stupidest thing I've ever been part of, he muttered. And I've been part of some stupid things. Do you have a gun? He looked at me, reached into his jacket, and handed me a pistol. Safety's on. Trigger pull is heavy. Don't point it at anything you don't want dead. I held it awkwardly. Had never fired a gun in my life. Second stupidest thing, Tony corrected. Giving you a gun is the stupidest. We flew through Brooklyn. 9:55. 5 minutes. The warehouse loomed ahead. Tony parked a block away. Turned off the lights. What's the plan? He asked. I don't have one. Great. This is how I die. But he got out of the car anyway. Checked his own gun. Looked at the building like he was calculating angles. Stay behind me, he said. And if I tell you to run, you run. Understand? Okay. We moved toward the warehouse. That's when we heard it. Voices inside. Yelling. Then a gunshot. We were too late. Tony grabbed my arm. Stopped me from running toward the sound. Wait, he hissed. Listen. We heard more voices. Could be a warning shot, Tony whispered. Or could be. Don't. I pulled away. Don't finish that sentence. We crept closer. The side door was cracked open. Tony went first. Gun raised. I followed with my gun held wrong. Finger nowhere near the trigger because I was terrified I'd shoot myself. Inside was chaos. Silvio stood in the center of a circle of men. Maybe 10 of them. All armed and focused on something I couldn't see yet. Then the circle shifted and I saw Rocco. Last chance, Silvio was saying. Sign over the Brooklyn operations. Right now. Or we see how many pieces you can lose before you bleed out. Go to hell. Rocco's voice was steady. Even on his knees with a gun to his head. Silvio sighed. Nodded at one of his guys. The guy raised his pistol. Aimed at Rocco's leg. I stepped out before I could think. Stop. Every head turned and their guns swung toward me. Tony swore and followed me out. His gun tracking between targets faster than I could follow. Vienne. Rocco's eyes went wide. Then furious. What are you doing? Saving you. I looked at Silvio. I'm here. I came. You said if I came alone you'd let him go. Silvio smiled. I did say that, didn't I? He looked past me at Tony. But you didn't come alone. He followed me. I tried to stop him. True, Tony muttered. On his knees. Hands behind his head. Blood on his shirt. He was alive. Well. Silvio walked closer. Gun casual at his side. This is interesting. The princess comes to save her prince. Very romantic. He stopped 5 feet away. But now I have a problem. I've got both of you. And I'm thinking why settle for leverage when I can have elimination? Because killing us starts a war, Rocco said coldly. Marco will burn Brooklyn to the ground. My father will come out of retirement. You know this, Silvio. Maybe. Silvio shrugged. Or maybe I stage it right. Make it look like the Russians finally made their move. He smiled. Either way I get what I want. Control of Brooklyn. No competition. You're signing your own death warrant, Tony said quietly. You know that, right? Am I? Silvio turned to him. Who are you exactly? Soldier? Bodyguard? You are willing to die for these two. Tony didn't answer. But his gun didn't waver. The standoff stretched. 10 guns on us. 1 gun on them. The math wasn't good. Then Rocco laughed. On his knees. Bleeding. He laughed like Silvio had told the funniest joke he'd ever heard. What? Silvio snapped. You. Rocco shook his head. You think you're so smart. Setting this trap. Getting both of us here. He looked up and smiled. But you made one mistake. And what's that? You assumed I came alone. On cue the lights went out. Complete darkness. Gunfire erupted. Bodies hit the floor. Someone grabbed me and pulled me down. Tony's voice in my ear. Stay low. Don't move. More gunfire. So loud. I covered my ears. Squeezed my eyes shut even though it was already dark. Then silence. Absolute. Lights came back on. 6 of Silvio's guys were down. Hands behind their heads. Surrounded by men I didn't recognize. Marco stood in the doorway. Rocco's cousin. Flanked by a dozen more soldiers. Sorry we're late, Marco said casually. Traffic was terrible. Rocco stood. Someone cut his hands free. He grabbed a gun from the nearest soldier. Walked straight to Silvio. Silvio had dropped his weapon in the chaos. Stood frozen. Eyes wide. Rocco. Silvio's voice shook. We can talk about this. Work something out. We could. Rocco's finger moved to the trigger. But I'm tired of talking. Don't. I stepped forward. Found my voice. Don't kill him. Rocco didn't look at me. He kept the gun steady. He threatened you. Put a gun to my head. Give me one reason why he deserves to live. Because you're not that person anymore. I moved closer. The man who took me to Coney Island. Who rode roller coasters and ate hot dogs on my fire escape. That man doesn't execute people in warehouses. That man is a fantasy, Vienne. This is who I am. This is who I've always been. No. I touched his arm. Gently. This is who you were trained to be. There's a difference. The gun didn't move. But something shifted in his eyes. Long pause. Gun still pressed under Silvio's chin. Then Rocco lowered it. Sit back. You're done in Chicago, he said flatly. Tonight. You and your crew. Get on a plane. Go anywhere. Boston. Hell, move to Miami and sell timeshares. I don't care. But if I see you within 100 miles of this city, we finish this conversation differently. Understand? Silvio nodded. Fast. Good. Rocco turned to Marco. Make sure he actually leaves. And spread the word. Anyone touches Vienne Delacroix, they answer to me personally. I don't care what family they're from. She's untouchable. Clear. Crystal. Marco smiled. Good to have you back, cousin. I'm not back. Rocco looked at me finally. I'm done. With all of this. Marco's smile faded. What? You heard me. I'm out. Rocco handed the gun to the nearest soldier. The Brooklyn operations. The hitmans. The territories. It's yours. All of it. I'm retiring. Rocco, you can't just. Watch me. He walked to me. Took my hand. I'm tired of all this violence. He squeezed my hand. I want what normal people have. Boring dinners. Stupid arguments about what to watch on TV. A life where the biggest crisis is running out of milk. The family won't let you walk away, Marco said quietly. Then they'll have to come through me to stop him, Tony spoke up. Everyone turned to stare. He shrugged. What? I like him. He tips well. Despite everything, I laughed. Rocco smiled. Looked at Marco. I'll talk to my father. Make it official. But my mind's made up. I'm done playing this role. Marco studied him. Then nodded slowly. Hey. But you owe me. Retirement doesn't mean you disappear completely. I need advice sometimes. Phone calls only. And nothing illegal. Everything we do is illegal. Then nothing violent. Marco grinned. Deal. They hugged. The way men do when they don't want to show emotion but feel it anyway. Get her out of here, Marco said. Take a long vacation. Let me clean up this mess and get the family settled. Then we'll figure out the paperwork. Rocco nodded. Turned to me. You okay? Am I okay? You were bleeding. Are you shot? Grazed. It's nothing. He looked down at his shirt. Hey, it's something. But not serious. Hospital, I said firmly. Safe house first. Then hospital. He looked at Tony. You good to drive? Yes, sir. Tony headed for the door. Stopped. Looked back at Silvio. By the way, you're an idiot. Could have just left them alone. Let them be happy. But you had to poke the bear. Now you've got nothing. Hope it was worth it. We left before Silvio could respond. The drive back was quiet. Tony drove us to a building in Queens. Inside were basic medical supplies. Tony cleaned Rocco's wound. Bandaged it properly. Told you it wasn't serious, Rocco said when I fussed. You got shot. Grazed. There's a difference. He caught my hands. Hey, look at me. Okay. We're okay. We crashed a warehouse full of armed men. We could have died. Tony could have died. But we didn't die. Rocco pulled me close. Because you were brave. He kissed my forehead. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever walk into a trap again. Deal. We stayed at the safe house that night. Tony slept on the couch. Rocco and I took the bedroom. I couldn't sleep as I kept replaying everything. The guns. The darkness. The moment I thought I'd lost him. You're thinking too loud, Rocco murmured. Half asleep. Arm around my waist. Sorry. Talk to me. I'm scared. I said it quietly. Honestly. You said you're retiring. Walking away. But what if they don't let you? What if this follows us forever? Then we deal with it. He pulled me closer. Together. I meant what I said in that warehouse. I'm done with that life. Are we a couple again? I hope so. He hesitated. Unless you want to keep running. I'd understand. I turned to face him. Even in the darkness I could see his eyes. Hopeful. I'm tired of running, I said. Yeah. I kissed him. Soft. Then harder. But I have conditions. Name them. No more guards. Done. And we're leaving this city. Fresh start somewhere new. Where? I don't know yet. I smiled. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere no one knows the name Santoro. Maybe a small town or a beach. We'll figure it out. I like the beach. He tucked hair behind my ear. Can I make a request? Maybe. Marry me. He said it simply. For real this time. Not a big wedding. Just us. Courthouse. Tuesday afternoon. Whatever you want. You're proposing in a safe house. I'm proposing everywhere until you say yes. He smiled. I'll propose in grocery stores. On subway platforms. At 3 a.m. when you're half asleep. I don't care. I just want to be yours. Completely. I thought about it. About the wedding I ran from and the life I'd tried to escape. But this wasn't that. This was different. He was different. We were different. Ask me again in 6 months, I said finally. When we're settled somewhere new. When you've been retired long enough to know you don't miss it. When I'm sure this is what you really want. I already know. 6 months. I kissed him again. If you still want to marry me in 6 months, I'll say yes. I promise. He studied my face. Then nodded. Hey, 6 months. But I'm warning you. I'm very persuasive. You might say yes sooner. Is that a threat? It's a promise. We fell asleep tangled together. Next morning, Tony made a terrible coffee. We should leave today, Rocco said. Marco will handle things here. But the faster we disappear, the better. Where to? I asked. You said you wanted quiet. A beach. He pulled out his phone. Started scrolling. There's a small town in South Carolina. My aunt has a house there. Empty right now. We could stay there. Figure out next steps. South Carolina? Or Maine? Or California? Wherever you want. He showed me pictures. Small house. Right on the water. Just for a few months. While things settle and I make retirement official. I looked at the photos. Quiet beach. No neighbors visible. Hey, I said. South Carolina. Really? Really? I finished my terrible coffee. But we're stopping at a real coffee shop on the way. This stuff is poison. Tony grinned. Told you it was bad. I make terrible coffee. We packed light. Left the safe house by noon. Somewhere around Delaware, Rocco reached over. Took my hand. Thank you, he said. For what? For giving me a reason to walk away. He brought my hand to his lips. Kissed my knuckles. For being you. You did the hard part. You changed. We both changed. He smiled. And we'll keep changing. Until we figure out who we're supposed to be. Deal. We arrived at sunset. Waves rolling gentle onto the sand. It's beautiful, I said. Yeah. But Rocco was looking at me. Not the view. That night we sat on the little dock. Feet dangling over the water. What happens now? I asked. How we live. Rocco leaned back on his hands. And in 6 months? In 6 months I ask you again. And you say yes. He smiled. Because apparently I need to up my proposal game. I laughed. Leaned against his shoulder. Sounds perfect. Yeah. We sat there until the air got cold and we had to go inside. Until tomorrow became today and we started our new life. Not perfect or easy. But it is ours. And sometimes that's enough. That is how my life with Rocco Santoro truly began. We traded the shadows of the Mafia for the sunsets of the coast. And for the first time I'm not running. If you've enjoyed this journey from Chicago to Brooklyn and finally to this dock, please like this video. But I have to ask you one last thing. Do you think Rocco can really stay retired or will his past eventually find us in South Carolina? And honestly, do you think I should say yes before the 6 months are up? But I have to ask you one last thing. Do you think Rocco can really stay retired or will his past eventually find us in South Carolina? And honestly, do you think I should say yes before the 6 months are up? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll be down there reading them. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you're the first to know when our next story begins. Thank you for being part of our journey. Until next time.